Our next topic is a bit more nuanced. It's a bit more technical in a sense. What's more technical than psychology is more legal. So this is going to be a bit more on the side of things that a lot of people right now are debating on, particularly AI and art. But a lot of people do not see it from this perspective. And as well as the fact that a lot of people misinterpret what copyright is. So this is where Attorney Marnie will be talking. So Attorney Marnie has been in the legal practice for how many years?
More than 20.
More than 20 years. So let's just finish with what Marnie has to say.
Okay. Okay. I'm Marnie, and I'm a lawyer. That's all you need to know. Okay. So well, I'm not only a lawyer. I'm also a nerd. So I'm sorry if I'm going to start speaking in tongues. Okay. So here. Okay. So us lawyers had experience with AI recently, and it's like this. Right now, some lawyers are questioning videos being presented in court because they could be deep fakes. That's all because of new technology and AI. ChatGPT. Okay, there was a lawyer that used ChatGPT. He was representing a complainant against an airline, and he started citing cases. Okay, take note of what he said. Okay, he didn't understand ChatGPT. He thought it was a search engine, just like Google. It's not. AI is not a search engine. It's something else. How many here know what GPT means? Okay, GPT means generative pre-trained transformer. Okay, now in those three words, under the law, generative and transformer are important. Pre-trained is something new, at least in the legal practice. So ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence system that was pre-trained. It generates answers to queries. Okay, these queries are what we call prompts. Okay, ChatGPT. Here. I just found out this morning that he really was sanctioned, and he was very embarrassed. Okay, so in law, we would like to first understand or define things. It's something that we do. Okay, it's a quirk of lawyers. So first, we understand what artificial intelligence is. Okay. This definition was given by the U.S. National AI Advisory Committee. Okay, it just came out May 2023. But this definition was based on the OECD. I forgot what that means. It's one of an attached body to the UN. So it explains that it's engineered and machine-based, and it generates outputs. Take note of that word, generate, such as predictions, recommendations, and decisions. Okay. And it has varying levels of autonomy. What does that mean? You can leave it alone. It's like a Roomba. Are you familiar with Roombas? Okay. You can just leave it alone. It'll do its thing. But the thing is, it has varying stages or levels of autonomy. Now, Biden came out with these two documents, the blueprint for AI Bill of Rights and the Artificial Intelligence Risk Management Framework. The Artificial Intelligence Risk Management Framework was the one that also provided the definition of artificial intelligence. Okay? Now, we must take note that these are not laws. These are just policy statements of how the Biden administration would like to address AI. And yes, the entire world is concerned. Some say that artificial intelligence might even be more dangerous than nukes. We'll explain that later. Here in the Philippines, we have this provision. I also happen to sort of practice in cyber law here in the Philippines. And I always point out that this is my favorite provision in the Constitution. Because, to my mind, it addresses the internet. And in this instance, it can also address artificial intelligence. Because what you have here is the emergence of communication structures. The internet was one emergence. Now it's not only emergent, it's established. Everybody, well, practically everybody has a cell phone and has access to the internet. Pretty soon, well, how many of you have already tried ChatGPT? You have access to it. You can have access to it on your cell phone. Okay, so just try to imagine how revolutionary that is. If you think the internet was good, just try to imagine what happens with AI. Okay, so we actually have, since 2021, a national AI strategy roadmap. Okay? All I can say about this is, in the vernacular, magandang drawing. Okay? Because it's been there since 2021, but I haven't heard of anything that's been happening.
Ako may narinig na ako.
Oh?
Di maganda.
Okay, so it has 2 pillars, those things. Okay, so if you look at it, AI would be important for art in the workforce development and in regulation. Okay? Why is that? Because there are a lot of creative industries. There are a lot of creators. Take note of that word. It's important in law, creators. Because the other word that we have in law for creators is authors. Okay? So, actually, that's what's important with novelty and expression. But we'll go to that later. Okay. So, Google is a search engine, and so far, when you look for the artist Vermeer, what comes up is this picture, which was created by AI. Okay? This is the original, and this one was a part of a contest on tributes to the girl with the pearl earring. And what happened was, I think this is a girl with the glowing earrings, I think. That's the title. But even Google, the search engine, gets confused if it's human created or AI created. Here's another contest. Okay? There was this guy, a photographer, and he, just for fun, thought, what would it be like if he submitted an AI-generated picture and say that it was a photo, and it actually won. But the guy refused to accept the award because he just did it as a prank. He didn't expect to win anything. So here, as you can see, it actually looks like a real photo. This one actually won. Okay, so I think it's Le Opera Special. I think that's the title of the piece. Okay, so what happened here is that the guy who submitted this did not give back the award. He said he didn't break any rules. Okay, and maybe he's right. Okay, We have a saying in law school that's taught in the very first year. What is legal may not necessarily be moral, and what is moral may not necessarily be legal. So I leave you to decide whether his decision to win and to keep the award, bahala na kayong humusga. Okay? So, you would think that the Art Forgery Act of the Philippines would apply in such cases. But take note that this law will not apply because it talks about authenticity. If you look at the text of the law, it keeps talking about signatures, who signs the painting. Okay? As you saw in the other examples, there's no signatures. And plus, it has to be a work of fine art. Okay, next. Here, the definition under our intellectual property code. Okay. Automatically, you cannot have AI as an author. You cannot have AI as a creator because it has to be a natural person. Okay. Here we have an example of the famous monkey selfie case. What happened in this case? Okay. The photographer left his bag of cameras behind, and when he came back, he found a bunch of monkeys playing with cameras. And he tried to get the copyright for this particular selfie photo. So, who owns the photo? The photographer. It was his camera. The monkey? Of course, again, it can't be the monkey. The monkey is not a natural person. Okay? So, who owns the photo? The Federal Appeals Court says nobody owns the photo. It can't be owned. Okay? So, we'll discuss if whether AI art can be owned. Okay. Not quite. Okay. So what happens here? We have a definition of works. Okay, works are creations. It has to be original. My friend here discussed about novelty, and what's important in copyright law, intellectual property, is that it has to be original. It has to originate from someone, and only that person. Or if it's a group of individuals, then only that group. So we'll discuss later the requirement in copyright law for something to be considered a literary or artistic work, okay, or creation. It has to have originality. It comes from somewhere for some natural person, and it has to be expressed. So, like if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna write a really nice novel and everything, okay? If that novel is not written down, stays in your head, you don't own copyright over that. It has to be expressed. Okay, so here, as you can see, AI are tools. This was just stated, I think 2 days ago by the guy who owns OpenAI. Oh, what's his name?
Sam Altman.
Altman, yeah. Sam Altman said that AI is a tool, not a person. Okay? It's so basic, but it has to be stated. So when you're using ChatGPT, you're not talking to someone. You're using a machine. And our intellectual property code actually explains what the computer program is. Okay? It's just a set of instructions which is capable of causing a computer to perform or achieve a particular task. If you're wondering what capable when incorporated in a medium, what that means, okay, for those who are who can remember diskettes and CDs, okay, there was a time that you had to run programs from CDs and diskettes. Not anymore. Okay, so there was this recent case. there was a contest for graphic novels that had to be digital art, and this one was created by a certain artist, Chris Castanova, and what she did was she submitted the graphic novel. You can't see it here, but her name is there, Castanova, and under it says Midjourney. Are you familiar with Midjourney? Okay. So she credited as an author AI. Okay, so it became an issue in the US Copyright Office. At first, it was rejected. No, you can't have that copyrighted. Then she argued, but I use it as a tool. I gave the story, the narrative. I gave the prompts that came up with these pictures, and I arranged it. So upon appeal, the Copyright Office said, okay, we'll give you that. The arrangement is yours. I'll explain later why arrangement is considered copyrightable work. The text is yours. But the images, it might not be. Because you're claiming that it was made by Midjourney. But she said, but I retouched it. She gave examples. Some are really minor touches. Some are imperceptible. The Copyright Office said, okay, those minor touches, that's copyrightable. It belongs to you. But the image itself, that's not yours. So that's how it is now in the States. So we're not sure how it's going to progress because that's still at the administrative level in the Copyright Office. It has to go to the courts.
Di ba nagano siya na may third na time decision that it wasn't copyrightable na if she wants to push it as
Yeah.
hers nga, di ba?
Okay. So that's the principle here. Actually, every time I see this, I keep on thinking it's Zendaya. It looks like Zendaya.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah. But I'll explain later why it might look like Zendaya. Okay. So the issue here is about derivative works. Okay. I was explaining that arrangement can be copyrighted. That's what she did. Okay, Casanova. In copyright law, there are two types of work, the originals and the derivatives. Those works that were derived, like dramatizations, okay? For example, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is originally a comic book character. Then you have a movie version of him. That's an adaptation or a dramatization of Spider-Man. Okay? So who owns the copyright? Okay? It becomes a collaborative work. Okay? Stanley, or well, now the estate of Stanley, still owns the copyright to Spider-Man. But Tom Holland owns the copyright to his performance of Spider-Man. So it's a collaborative work. So it's a layered, several copyrights owned together. Okay, so take note of the word alterations there because it changes. Okay. Now we go to the meat of the matter, copyright. Okay, so here you have copyright pertains to economic rights. Okay, it gives the artist, the creator, a monopoly over who gets to use his work. Okay, so as you can see, reproduction there, the word, okay, is copying of the work. Down here you have dramatization. Okay, take note. So the original author has to authorize the derivative work. So you just can't have Tito Vic and Joey creating a Spider-Man movie without the permission of Marvel Studios. Okay? They're going to be hit with the copyright suits. So it's very important to note that the derivative work is dependent on the authorization from the original author. Now, aside from economic rights, this is the part that is, I think, would be closer to the heart of all artists, okay? And that's, well, for lack of a more gender-appropriate term, it's called the paternity right, okay? The paternity right is the right of attribution, okay? If that's my work, and you're going to use it, at least say it's my work, okay? That's very important for artists. Because why? They are the origin, they're the originator. It's their work. So, these are the other moral rights. Okay? You can just read through them.
So lineage rights are better the term.
Well, yeah, lineage would be a better term than paternity right. Okay? Now, we turn to this case of fair use. Okay? What is fair use? What if you don't have the authorization to create the creative work? The derivative work, that is. Okay? Are you allowed to do that? There's an exception. It's called fair use. Okay? What's a good example of that? I guess everybody is familiar with Star Wars, okay? But I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Spaceballs.
I'm familiar.
Okay? Spaceballs is a parody of Star Wars. Okay? Spaceballs did not ask for permission from George Lucas. Why? Because it's a parody. It's fair use. Okay? Now, so in determining fair use, there's no formula. But it's done on a case-to-case basis, and these are the 4 factors. The purpose and character, the nature of the copyrighted work. Here's an important one, amount and substantiability. So, how much did they copy? If they copied just a little, then most probably that's not infringement. Okay? Then, of course, the effect of the copyrighted, the use of the fair use on the copyrighted works market. Did it cheapen or did it make it look bad? Okay? So, recently, there was this case that it's highly contested because what happened here was that Andy Warhol made another collage. Are you familiar with Campbell soup? The Campbell soup painting? There was a similar case. Campbell soup said, okay, that's copyright infringement. We did not give you authorization to use our cans for your collage. And the court at that time said, no, it's a transformative work. It's a statement on the commercialization of art. So, if you transform something into something new, then it's a new work. That was the gist of the Campbell soup case. Here, just this year, the U.S. Supreme Court sort of walked it back a bit. The same artist, Andy Warhol, made a collage of a photo. Okay, and the photographer said, wait a minute, you didn't get my permission to use my photo. So it went to court, and here the Supreme Court walked it back. Now, this case, this ruling, might have a serious impact on 2 cases that involve artificial intelligence. Okay? There were 2 cases. First one is the artist suing artificial intelligence companies, and the lawsuit could upend legal proceedings. Then the other one is a Get Image case. Okay? In one case, you had 3 artists in the States. I'm actually discussing all American cases because, first of all, most of AI comes from the States, and we don't have any Philippine cases yet on AI. okay, yet. But these cases would be very persuasive if ever it comes here in the Philippines. Okay, so this one is a really good case. We're going to discuss this later. Basically, the three artists said, wait a minute, our works seem to be copied several times by stable diffusion. Okay, it's another AI that generates images. Okay, and they said they were collaging their work without their consent. Okay, it wasn't with their consent, and they weren't compensated. That was their claim. Now, okay, we'll discuss that later. The second case is funny. Okay, this is Getty Images. Okay, it's a you find it online. They have stock photos. Okay, and what happened was Getty Images said, okay, AI has been using our images. Okay, proof here that they've been using Getty Images. Wait, this is really funny. This is the logo of Getty Images. Okay, this is AI generated. It looks like a logo. Okay, it comes close. Okay, so this is where Getty Images says, wait, you're using our images without our permission. And yes, okay. So no, what happened here is that what they use are large array. I'm forgetting.
So basically, they scrape Getty Images for the data.
Yes. All of these image AI, they use a company called Lion 5B, okay, LAION. I forget what that means. The L there is large array, okay. They have 5.85 billion images, okay. Some of it might have been submitted to stock photos like Getty Images, okay, and some of it are Instagram posts. Can you imagine that? Instagram posts. Now that part for a lawyer, that's a bit iffy. Like, why did you go there? Okay. Now, if you think that, oh, it's on the internet, it's what's the term? Public domain. That's not true. Okay. If it's on the internet, that doesn't mean it's for free. It doesn't mean that you can just right-click and copy and save. Okay. If you keep on doing that, well, for personal use, you're allowed under the law. But if you like start putting those photos on your T-shirts and selling it, okay, that's copyright infringement. Okay. So okay, we'll discuss these two cases. So is AI art stealing? You'd find a lot of these YouTube videos, and you'll see that image, the red circle with the crossbar over AI. That's because of a few months back there was an online protest against AI images, and that's the logo. As you can see, there are other versions, and you can, well, actually I went through YouTube. It's like going down a rabbit hole. You find lots of stuff for and against AI. Now, over at Facebook, I found this interesting post. And this guy claims that he's found proof that Midjourney steals. That image on the left, that's a original Frank Frazetta. If you're a comic book aficionado like me, you would know who Frank Frazetta is. He's a really famous comic book illustrator. And as you can see, these are obviously copies. Okay? Now, the term there is AI overfitting. Okay? What is meant by overfitting? Midjourney, okay, ChatGPT is text-based AI. Okay? They make it appear that there's another person on the other end. How? Did you notice that if you use ChatGPT, it comes out as if somebody's typing? Okay? It doesn't have to do that. It can just flash it over. It's already there, but it does that whole typing thing so that it makes you feel that there's somebody on the other end. Yes, okay. So ChatGPT, that's different. Okay. So now what you have is Midjourney. Now in Midjourney, it's the same as ChatGPT. You use prompts. Okay. What's a prompt? Okay. I would tell my friends that basically prompt is spell casting. Okay. It's magic. Okay. You say something and something comes up. Okay. Now there's actually a new profession now. It's called prompt engineering. It's basically somebody.
Misuse din daw.
Yeah, actually misuse. So what happens is you're supposed to say certain words and certain groups of words, and these are called tokens. Okay, so you would say a cat with a hat breaking a vase. Okay, and you give it to Midjourney, and what happens is you'd come up with lots of images of exactly that, a cat with a hat breaking vases. Okay, and not two would look alike. They all look different. Now, what happens in the program? In AI, the tokens, cat, hat. Okay, all of these words are attached to
Training data.
yeah, yes, to a number and to images. Okay, we'll explain that later. Okay, so overfitting is when you say, go draw an angry man in the jungle like Frank Frazetta. Okay, the like Frank Frazetta is a token that gives the AI access to images that are related to Frank Frazetta. So if you're overfitting it, this is what occurs.
So yung overfitting, what it does is, there's an option kasi sa Midjourney and sa Stable Diffusion to call in painting, which is once the image is generated, I can fine tune it to what I want. So parang what they do in painting is that even if I don't get the Frank Frazetta image, I can specify Midjourney to do tweaks with prompts to create the Frank Frazetta image without any safety precaution to Midjourney that they will stop me from doing it.
Okay, so this is what results. Okay, okay.
Ayun na, may multiple try siya doon.
Oh, wait.
So,
We'll go back. Which one?
Ayun na, may multiple try siya doon. He's doing in painting to get the exact image.
Yes. Okay. Now, there's this really funny. Brad Colbo is an artist who's sort of in favor of AI art. Okay. There's this great saying that if you steal small, that's theft. If you steal big, that's art. Okay. It's a very notorious statement. But the thing is, how does an artist prepare for his profession? Okay? You would come over and copy. Okay? Is the art student committing infringement? Of course not. The art student is studying. That's why the sketch of the art student is called the study. Studies are not infringement. That's how other artists are created. So that's not infringement. So AI, is it doing the same thing? I found this image in the case of the 3 artists who sued Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. Now, Stability AI is the one that introduced Stable Diffusion. I'm not sure if most probably you're more well versed than me about this because I only read about it in the case. It said there that Stable Diffusion was just, the method was just created in 2015. Okay? And this is an example of how it's done. Okay? The image diffusion, image training, and image generation. This is what's happening in AI. And this was being explained in a legal pleading, which I found funny because legal pleadings are usually boring. But it had explanations of what AI is about. So if you look at here, you have a image of a spiral. It's diffused. It's randomized, it's given noise. And that's done thousands of times in order to produce that image to the right, which is absolute obliterated image. It's pure noise. That's called training.
It's basically, just to give some people understanding, what diffusion means is that it takes apart the image and turns it into what Patrick calls as numbers or components until it's to the littlest factor of the image, which is the speckled aspects that you see. So
now,
it can be reformed into something else.
So what you have there is forward diffusion, which is training. Then you have reverse diffusion, which is image generation. So what happens there is that the computer program starts to guess, starts to predict which part was probably noised or infused with noise, and they start denoising it. So by prediction, it's able to create an image that is understandable by the human eye, but it's not the exact image. That's why when you tell, when you give the prompt about the cat with the hat, you'd come up with different photos of cats with hats, different types of hats, different types of cats, because what they have
Parts and mishmashing
are so many images that were analyzed. Okay? So the claim of the 3 artists is that our art was taken from us, used in that data set, and it was collaged. That is the claim. The defense of Midjourney and Stable Diffusion is, no, we didn't take anything. Our AI analyzed, it just looked.
Yeah, but actually, when you look at the way you train AI, this is for my students. When you train AI, you can assign prompts and match images to prompts. So that's the proper prompt engineering, not the one that's you say you just cobble up prompts, right? Creating a prompt language is what you call proper prompt engineering. So you can train prompts to say in the art style of. So I feed it. I will create prompt say Patrick Cabral. Then I will get all of Patrick's art and I'll feed it to just that word. So when I do the training, the only images that will be there will be Patrick Cabral's work. So what it does, it analyzes all of the similarities
Yeah.
and turns that into, say, either a vision model or an asset model.
Yeah, but the defense of Midjourney is that, let's say you ask, the prompt is just simple: give me the Mona Lisa. Okay. Again, remember, AI is not a search engine. A search engine will just give you the Mona Lisa. But when you say, give me a picture of the Mona Lisa, you'd get different types. And it's not exactly the Mona Lisa. It's because of this system. It's diffusion. So the image generated is not the image that was copied.
Yeah. So
That's the defense.
yeah, this is meant to really confuse people in the defense side, because it's obviously not telling how the training happened, right? So if you actually show it in the perspective of training, it will be showing that the artist's work was actually derived.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens here is that this is still pending in the courts. So we're waiting what the courts would say. And this would be precedent setting because it will be the first time that there will be jurisprudence on AI.
So they will need to get other experts to explain that.
There's actually a website. It's called Have I Been Trained? Okay. There were several artists who were surprised that their works have been used in data sets in Midjourney, and of course again, diba? It's not only copyright, it's also the moral rights. Okay, the right of attribution. Okay, it's my work. Why are you not saying that it came from me? Okay. Now, let's go look at it on the other side. Japan, on the other hand, says that copyright does not apply to AI training. Okay, it's complete opposite. Okay.
Bigyan mo ng context naman.
No, well, the thing is, I view it as it's the culture. Okay.
Definitely.
Copyright is basically a Western concept. It started with the Statute of Anne in the 1700s, okay, in England, and it was giving rights to authors. Okay, so what happened was it focuses on protecting the individual artists, while Japan. Are you familiar with the story of the creator of the Tamagotchi? Okay, the guy who created the Tamagotchi, it's a for the young ones here, it's a small toy that was in the 1980s. Okay. So what happened was the guy who created the Tamagotchi did not get anything for his creation. Why? Because he felt, oh, it belongs to my company. Okay? It's in the Asian culture that you think of groups, you think of families, of even corporations in Japan are thought of as being extended family. So it's in their culture. So the concept that you can't use images for training because of copyright is alien to the Japanese.
Just
So-
to also give some context, sa art scene in Japan, if you do a doujinshi or anything like that, it's not required to pay back. It's more of, swerte na sila pag na-receive sila ng royalties. It's thank you po. But, di ba, that's why a lot of doujinshis there, parang they can just make it, and you know, it's more of their sense of copyright is different from the Western world. That's why you have this culture from the 1990s, comiket, your doujinshi culture, and the like. There's a very big difference in how people treat copyright.
So try to imagine, okay? We're in Asia. Our culture is different from the West, but copyright is a Western concept. So how is it going to play out here? We still don't know. Because we could go that way, like Japan. Oh, copyright is not an issue in training.
So a good way to view this would be a good example. A company that has both Japanese and English roots, Nintendo, for example. If you are looking at doujinshi culture in Nintendo Japan, it's okay. They don't actually go after people doing these art. But when you go to the West and you go to the internet, you see a lot of lawsuits, a lot of strikes, a lot of takedowns coming from Nintendo America.
So
that's a good example about this.
So the future is not yet written when it comes to AI. So like just a few weeks ago, there was a call to stop the development of AI because it was getting dangerous. Okay. Now, Bill Gates commented on that, and he made a nice comment. He said, that would only stop the law-abiding corporations. What about the bad actors, the criminals? They would still develop their own AI. They would train their own. Actually, there's this new AI called DarkBERT. Okay, it was trained on the dark web. Okay, so I'm not yet sure what happened with that.
So DarkBERT is a thesis in Korea where they trained all data from early 2019 prior and dark web messages and the like. It was to analyze the verbiage of the dark web, but consequentially, the things that could happen. I think I posted this recently. There is already malware that uses a GPT package to be able to change itself for detection. So this is kind of scary stuff that you might see in the future.
Who among you uses Lensa? Or it has an, it's the magic avatars. Okay, so if you want to make your profile photo nice, you run it through Lensa, and it comes up with an artistic version of you. Okay, now in the States they also made a case about this. Okay, this man, okay, is the plaintiff. He was the one that filed against Lensa. And in this news article, they used his Lensa photo. Okay. So he submitted this photo, Lensa came up with this, and then he was the one that started the suit. He said it was a violation of the Illinois Biometric Information and Privacy Act, the BIPA. Okay. Now, here in the Philippines, we have a Data Privacy Act. Okay. It defines personal information as anything that would identify the person. Now, why is that important? I'm actually a data privacy advocate. Okay. It would take another talk to explain what data privacy is. But the basic thing about data privacy is that you just don't want certain information being broadcast or given to anyone. Like your address or the schools of your children, okay? You don't want strangers to know that information. So it's about informational privacy or the power to control information about yourself. And apparently, Lensa used facial biometrics. So now it's in their system. Here in the Philippines, our COMELEC already took our biometric information. Then it was leaked. So I mean, like, it's one of my advocacies. You're not supposed to be giving out too much information. Okay, so this would also be an issue in data privacy. That suit was related to this type of danger. They would take the information of your photos, make a clone of you to make deep fakes. That's one of the dangers which was put in that case against Lensa. Okay. So just last year we had this new law. I tried reading it. It's so tedious. Okay. But apparently our government wants to have a grab hold on creative industries. Okay? So,
It's a mess.
well, they now have a council, the Creative Industries Council. And
marketing people naman yun.
actually, I'm not too sure. I'm a bit iffy about this law. Okay. But as you can see, it created domains. You can see audiovisual. You have digital interactive media. Okay. It claims to give incentives, but I'm not sure how well that incentives would go.
Mababa lang.
I'm still studying this. I'll get back to you if it's any good. But my gut feel is it's a money grab for government because they want to get control of creative industries. Well, okay. That concludes my talk.
Thank you. Thank you for